How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we're looking at how you can turn all of those extra faction tokens you're sitting on into gold, instead of hitting the faction token limit. But before we get into that, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. It helps out massively. Now, let's get into it. Most of us New World players make sure we get all of our daily 3 bonus reward faction missions in every day for the free 700 to 800 gold, and by doing that, we have tons of extra faction tokens laying around. At the start of your endgame journey, when you're using them a lot, this won't be much of a problem, because you'll be using them on the daily gypsum, Azoth Conductors, ultimate trophies, skins, and chromatic seals. But eventually, you'll have everything you need, and the tokens will just stack up. But in this video, I'll go over all of the ways you can turn those extra tokens into gold, instead of having them hit the faction token limit and be pointless. If this is not an issue you are currently experiencing, and instead need faction tokens badly, I'll link in the top right and in the video description a video that will show you the fastest ways to get faction tokens in New World. For the first method, we'll go over the old classic and probably the most well-known of all of the methods, and that's the Masterwork Material Converter method. These items sell for 100 faction tokens per, and cost 0 gold, so they can be a quick and easy way to make some extra gold. If you want to just be quick with it, you can buy and sell them straight on the trade post, without any extra work. They currently sell for 0.80 per in my server, Marama, so that's an easy 80 gold per 10,000 faction tokens right away. Or, you can use them to turn cheaper reagents into more profitable ones, and sell them to make even more gold. Plus, I find the reagents sell quicker than if I were to just sell the converters on the trade post as well. Now, to test the profits, I bought 10,000 tokens worth of these converters, which gave me 100 of them. If I were to sell them right away via sell orders, I would be left with 78.51 gold after trade fees for every 10,000 tokens I spend on them. If I were to convert reagents, I could stand to make even more profit. For this, you're going to want to look up the cheapest reagent available in your server. Most servers will have at least one reagent that sells for 0.01 gold per, up to 0.04 gold per. Go for those. You should also have a large stack of these in your storage, as you get them from daily activities. But I'll include the cost as if you bought them directly from the trade post to keep the numbers consistent. For me, when testing the numbers, Wireweave and Obsidian Sandpaper were the cheapest at 0.03 per. The most expensive reagent was Obsidian Flux, selling for 0.16 per. So my plan was to buy cheap, turn it all into Flux, and sell for a profit. To do this, I would need 2,000 Wireweaver, which cost me 61.20 gold. From there, I headed over to the crafting station needed to make Obsidian Flux, the smelter, and converted all the cheap reagents over to Flux. I made sure to have my smelting gear on, as well as having the Weaver's Fort bonus up for my faction as well, just to squeeze any extra bit of gold out of the process. In the end, I was left with 1,830 Obsidian Flux. This cost me 34 gold in crafting fees as well. If I sold all of the Flux on the trade post via sell orders, I would end up with 288.32 gold after trade fees. If you take away from that the costs of the Wireweave and the crafting tax, that would mean this process would leave you with 193 gold for the 10,000 faction tokens you spend. That's an additional 113 gold for a couple of extra steps, and you could be getting some smelting XP as well. But maybe price is different in your server, so check which is most profitable for you. But overall, if we do the math, this is a profitable process. If you just buy the converters and sell them right away, you'll be making 1 gold for every 125 tokens you spend. Or, if you do the couple of extra steps, you can stand to be making 1 gold for every 52 tokens, which really adds up. That would be an additional 121 gold per each of your 3 daily bonus reward missions every day. But let's look at another method, and that's through selling items you can get from the faction vendor that are not buy non pickup and therefore can be sold on the trade post. There's 3 standalone items: the gem setting pins, the banner fragments, and the shards of pride. For me, in Marama, currently the only profitable one of the bunch is the gem setting pins. These will cost you from the vendor 100 gold and 300 faction tokens. At the trade post, you could sell these for 290 gold apiece in my server, which after trade post fees will leave you with a profit of 185.5 gold per 300 tokens. That's pretty much 1 gold for every 1.6 tokens spent, which is great, but there isn't as much of a demand for these items as there are for reagents, so if prices are similar in your server, it could be worth doing a combination of both methods. The banner fragments are a massive loss of profit in my server, costing 1,000 gold per in the vendor and only selling for 5 gold on the trading post. And the same for the shards of pride, netting a minus 19,000 gold profit per shard. But there's also the runes of holding. Currently in Marama, pretty much every tier of these runes have a great return of the investment. So I did the math on the returns of all 5 tiers of these runes, and this is the results. For the miner, you'll be earning 68 gold of profit per 1,000 tokens spent, for a return of 1 gold for every 15 tokens spent. The major runes didn't have enough of them on the market to gather accurate numbers, but for sure would make a decent profit due to the lack of supply. The greater runes would net you 403 gold for 5,000 tokens spent, which would be a return of 1 gold per 12.4 tokens. The grand runes also didn't have enough on the market to make accurate calculations on, but looks similar to the previous 2 tiers in profit. And finally, the exquisite rune, which is the one most in demand, would net you 2,352 gold for 30,000 faction tokens, for a return of 1 gold per 12.7 faction tokens. Despite all of the tiers and different costs, it's safe to say that from flipping runes of holding, you can for sure make a decent profit, and can expect to be making 1 gold from every 12 to 15 tokens spent on this method, which is on the higher end for token flipping. But make sure to check prices first in your server. For minor runes, you need them to be over 250 gold each. Majors need to be over 500, graders over 1,000, grands over 1,500, and exquisite over 10,000. And you also need to keep in mind trade fees as well. If you plan on doing this method, the best bet may be to do a couple of each tier, instead of focusing all your tokens into a specific tier, just to diversify and allow you to sell off your items faster. There's also the faction dies you can purchase and try and flip. For this though, there's a couple of caveats. You can only purchase from the vendor the die of the faction you're in, so if you're Syndicate, you can get Burnished Lilac die. If you're Marauders, you can get Tarnished Jade die, and if you're Covenant, you can get Twine die. They all cost 100 gold each and 300 faction tokens. Currently, in Marama, Twine goes for 65 gold per, and Burnished Lilac goes for 50 gold per, so neither of these can have profits made off of them. But there are no Tarnished Jade dies on the market, so there is an opportunity there for some profits. But again, like with every item, you have to check your server's prices before trying this method. If they sell for anything over 100 gold each, there's money to be made off of these. There's also a couple of items from the vendor you can use indirectly to make a profit from. The Azoth Conductor can be utilized to make quite a decent profit every week if you're a high-end crafter. So if you're maxed out on a lot of crafting professions and have all the trophies and gear, and don't need to craft this gear for yourself, you can use your Inductor every week, when the cooldown is up, to make a best-in-slot item for someone and sell it for massive profits. You can advertise in trade chat that you're selling your Inductor, and find a buyer before you make the gear, making it to their specifications for a nice profit that the two of you could come to an agreement over. Or, if you don't want to be social, look for highly sought after BIS items in your server, and make them, selling them on the trade post for a profit. This could be a great way to make tons of profit, but there is the initial big investment to be able to do this. And there's also the Gypsum Orbs. You can get up to 5 of these every day from the vendor for 7,000 tokens per. For a lot of us, we have more than enough Gypsum Orbs, so this is kind of pointless. But if you're low on them, and don't want to get them from open world activities, you should make sure to buy them all 4 times a week, for a total of 20. So then by the start of every week, on Tuesday, you can purchase the cache of gold and matter from the Gypsum Kiln, for a free 1,500 gold, and 250 dark matter. Of course, if you only get Gypsum through this method, it's a massive investment of 140,000 tokens per week, only bringing you in 1 gold for every 93 tokens you spend. But the dark matter is really nice too, and if you're also getting a couple of Gypsums in other ways, just purchasing a couple from the vendor to make sure you have 20 by the end of the week could be really worth it. And the last of the ways you can make gold off of your faction tokens is via the mastery caches and packages of materials. This is a very hit or miss method due to the volatility of prices for crafting materials and the high prices for some of these caches. But if you're a gambler, this could be a fun method for you. For starters, I would immediately say stay away from the packages of specialized materials, as no items you can get in these boxes will get you back your initial 5,000 gold invested, plus the 50,000 faction tokens is really steep as well. But the mastery caches could see you making some money if you're lucky. These can be purchased once a day and give you items that will give you XP towards a skill of your choice. Hover over the box and it'll tell you where to use the item to convert it into XP. You can simply use them to level the skills you have no interest in leveling, or use them towards the skills you've already hit mastery level on, and the reward caches from the mastery levels can be where you make your profits from this method. The big ticket item you're hoping for from these aptitude crates would be schematics for crafting gear. So for example, if I was trying to make money from this, I would go on my server and look up all the highest tier crafting gear and see which skill line goes for the most. If I knew what mining sold for the most in my server and was the most sought after, I would focus on those caches and purchase every tier of the mining ones every day, and then open them up and convert everything into mining XP. So I did this for testing purposes of this video, and after spending 452 gold and 15,000 faction tokens, I had all 4 crates. That left me with 1 strange ore, 1 abnormal ore, and 3 unusual ores, which equates to roughly 2 aptitude crates every day. I wasn't lucky enough to get a crafting schematic, but if I did, I could sell that for massive profits. And a quick tip, if you promote the crafting schematic in trade chat and find a buyer before using it, you can craft it into the piece they want for the price you set, speeding up your sell times. Just make sure they don't want, for example, a chest piece worth 2.5k when you could have made boots that would be worth 4k. Even without getting lucky, the items I got from the crates go a little bit of the way towards making your initial investment back. I wouldn't say this method is 100% guaranteed to be profitable, but for the gamblers out there, this could be a great way of making gold with your faction tokens. But that covers all of the current ways in New World to turn your extra faction tokens into some spare gold. I'll show on screen now a chart that compares all of the methods so you can get an overview of the results I came to from this video. Of course, prices will be different in your server if you're not in Marama, so always check the trade post first, but this is just a good guideline. You can find a method you like and just stick to it, or probably the best move to do would be to diversify, so not to saturate the market too much and speed up sell times. You can buy some converters and turn them into a couple of different expensive reagents, buy a couple of gem setting pins and list a couple of them every day as your other ones sell, get one of every holding rune and set up sell orders, buying more as each one sells, or you can go full gambler and put everything into the mastery caches in hopes of some crafting gear. There's great methods for everyone, so find what works best for you and stick with it, and I'll be making tons of extra gold in the long run. If there was any methods I have missed out that you do, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to try them out, and if the video was any help, please consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps out massively. But until next time, have a good one. Thanks for watching another video, and a massive shout out to all the channel members and patrons who support the channel. If you'd like to learn some of the fastest ways to get faction tokens so you can try out some of these methods, click on the video to the left. Or, if you'd like to follow me on a lore journey to the main story quest of New World, click on the series to the right.